This February 2nd, 2016 Teleclinic is brought to you by The Wellness Show.
So welcome to the Teleclinic call of The Wellness Show. This is February the 2nd, 2016. And we're about to answer questions live for people that have concerns and want to be involved with a clearing or healing. So without further ado, we have somebody on the line today. So what's your name?
This is Jack.
Hi, Jack. So what's up in your life?
Oh, hey, everything's cool. Just made a discovery a couple of weeks ago, and I was curious whether you knew about it and wanted to just ask you if you knew about it. So.
All right. So ask me again. What do you want to know?
Oh, there's a modality called biofield tuning, tuning, using a tuning fork.
Yes. And how would you like to use that tuning fork?
Well, according to them, the tuning fork locates information that's in your aura. And, you have the biofield around you, and it has rings like a ring around a tree. You can tell the age of the tree by counting those rings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with the biofield tuning. They can find out where traumatic things occurred in your life, starting at birth or before.
Well, that's really interesting. So with the tuning fork, you can determine, and how do you determine that? So in the biofield with the tuning fork, is it that it resonates at a different frequency if there's trauma in the field?
Hey, exactly. Yeah, there's a different sound, so they can tell that, okay, there's something that occurred here, and they go out 5 feet from the body, and that's their, birth time. So the things that are further away from you are the things that happened earlier to you. Things that are closer to you are the more recent things.
Well, that's really good to know. Because, we do the same thing dowsing without using a tuner fork, but I never thought about things that are closer to your field or more recent, and further out is more distant in your past, but it does make sense. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I have this scientific mind. I want to know, okay, well, how does this work with, say, for instance, the emotional code? Are you familiar with the emotional code by Bradley Nelson, Dr. Bradley Nelson?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great
emotional code.
Yeah, by Bradley Nelson. Yeah, that's a very good question. So let me, in the best of my ability, answer your question. So, when you have a heart wall, like Bradley Nelson says, or you have, a trauma in your field, there's a number of ways that it can be defined. So some of the things that I know about some of the terminology, for what no longer serves you is the general terminology I use when I'm doing a deep dowsing, so I don't have to qualify what it is. So I use what no longer serves, right? But having said that, you can get more specific than that by dowsing. So I do know that there is core fractures, and that is when something happens to you that is such a traumatic experience, you basically almost flatline, like you feel disempowered. You feel like you have no energy. It's almost like flattens you right to the floor. So that would be a core.
Yeah.
It's like a really traumatic event. So that's one type that I know of. And there's different techniques to deal with that type of traumatic stress, okay? Then the other one is toxic emotions. And that's sort of like a pool of emotions that is like a field over your DNA. It's just toxic, energetic, vibrational frequencies that's in the way of your blueprint. So that could get, and that comes from your parenting or believing in some, way of doing things from your parents or from your teacher or whatever that was incorrect, and it's in the way of your blueprint. So that's another level. So
Okay. So I'm going to pass to the office here. So keep talking. So, and I'm going to my car. I have to pass to the office. So keep talking.
all right. So
Go
those
ahead.
the different levels of that I know of, and I'm sure there's others. So so think of your bioenergy field or your aura as being just a set of vibrational frequencies. At a certain level of frequency, you're in health and in renewal, and below that line, you're losing energy, and planetary forces are conspiring to take you off the planet. So does that make sense?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, so does that make sense to you?
I'm sorry.
Does that make sense?
Keep. Oh, yes, it does. Very much so.
All right.
Hold on. Keep talking.
So it's really hard to hear you. So you want to just mute your and I'll keep talking. And when you're finished talking,
okay. I'm with you.
And then when you're finished,
I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the best
I'm finished.
ways to understand this is in the book Letting Go. Do you know the work of David Hawkins?
Oh, yes. The levels of consciousness guy.
Yeah. So before he died, he published Letting Go, which is really, it uses the same gradient or scale used in the other books, which is very valuable for you to determine where you are. So certain states of consciousness like anger, fear, resentment, doubt, all are below the energy line that takes you out or literally energy field and causes you to lose energy and be drained. And above that line, you're gaining energy and you're moving towards enlightenment. So again, every thought, word, deed, and action that you take either puts you further above the line collectively or further below the line collectively, depending on your state of consciousness. So using those levels of consciousness, you can determine what you want to do with each choice point in your life. Do you want to make a decision that takes you closer to your fear and your doubt and your shame and your guilt, which is your human mind consciousness? Or do you want to make a decision that takes you closer to your alignment with Source or God or the all that is? So does that make sense?
Okay, but it makes sense. So, but this is a constant thing that would fluctuate with you, right? I mean, it's not like a constant, right? I mean, like you say, if you achieve a certain level, and that means you are, you've reached a certain level, and that's sort of permanent, no? So,
yes.
Is it something that moves up and down?
Yeah, it moves up and down, but the story is a brilliant flash of enlightenment. So that can be a microsecond, it can be a minute, it can be an hour, it can be a week, it can be a month, or it can be the rest of your life, or so can enlightenment. So when you know that you're getting close, you'll have flashes of that. You'll have flashes of knowing you are connected with everything around you. But then you'll lose it because you'll have some trauma, or you'll have a great thought, or you'll get into doubt or shame or some endless loop you haven't finished, right?
Yeah.
So
but, there's a.
It is like a wave on the ocean, right? It is going up and down, and you always have that polarity, and you can choose to not be so much on the swing of that polarity. You want to have it closer to zero as much as possible. So just give me a second. I'm just going to go to this other line just for a sec. Is anybody on this line?
Sure.
Yes, Renata, you need to be coming into the Zoom call. We're having a call on Zoom. So you should have got a notice to phone in and join us there. I'm not on this line. I'm just happen to be on the line in order to make the connection, right? To let you know you need to be elsewhere. So just hang on, and I'll see if I can get you connected. So just a minute here. Shoot. All right. Well, then I'll give you the number. Do you want the dial-in number? Okay. Well, I'll need to let you go. Okay. I'll leave you on this line. You can at least listen. Okay. Okay. So back to you, Jack. I'm doing two things at once. I'm on the telephone conference line, and I have another person, and I'm on Zoom, so I'm in two places at once.
Hey, that's good. You can do that.
Yeah, and bilocating as we speak. So yeah. So those are great questions, by the way. So any other questions? So do you understand how the resonance field and how using tuning forks would, if you vibrate at the same frequency, according to Rife, that if it vibrates at the same frequency as the trauma, the two cannot exist in the same place in the same locale. The two vibrations cancel each other out, and therefore the disease or the virus or whatever no longer can exist in the energy field. Does that make sense to you?
That's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty nifty, though, huh? To be able to have that occur.
Yeah. So
the thing about go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. It's just I got two conversations, one in each ear here. So, hey, Renata, I can't hear you on the call because we're having a conversation elsewhere. So are you ready to take the call number, or do you got a piece of paper you can write it out and join us? All right. So I'm going to put you on silence, but you can certainly listen to the call, okay? Yeah, you can't speak. All right? All right, so back to you, Jack. So what's up? Where were you?
So, okay, so the level of consciousness deal by Dr. Hawkins, there's something else that I had learned, was participating in. It was the use of sacred geometry. And the sacred geometry, starting with Pythagoras, I think.
Yes.
By looking at these symbols, they're supposed to raise your level of consciousness. And if you reach a certain level, then according to this group, the level is permanent.
Right.
But it takes a while to achieve it, and they have that scale too. But that was before I knew about Dr. Hawkins, and so I was curious too, because I have been doing the sacred geometry. It's like a meditation. You do for 15 minutes. You got three symbols: a circle with a dot in the middle, an equilateral cross, and a triangle.
Well, sacred geometry is very powerful. Sacred geometry, according to Platonic solids, you're probably looking at them on a two-dimensional piece of paper. You also can have them in 3 dimensions, which are the Platonic solids. For example, in the basement, we have a dodecahedron sound chamber. So the dodecahedron has a nest in it, the tetrahedron has the square and the cube, and the octahedron as well. And they're the building blocks of life. So your cells all the way through, from the minutest particle in your cells all the way through to the galaxies and the multiverses, are all based on these geometric sacred geometry nested one within the other. So it's all the way up and all the way down. So when you tune into that, and do meditation on that, what the beauty of it is aligns you with your blueprint, and it actually does begin to clear your field, because your blueprint is aligned with sacred geometry, and when it's distorted by beliefs or thoughts or trauma, then that blueprint is distorted as well. So the body automatically, when it recognizes sacred geometry, reconfigures itself back to the original blueprint. So yes, that's why mandalas work, and anything that has sacred and tonkas, the Buddhist ones, they're all used for centering you and helping you clear what's in your way. So yeah, good comment.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty nifty. So I've been doing it, like one time I did it straight for 3 years, every day, not missing a day. According to these folks, that if you there's when you get locked in balance, and that is when your emotional and your mental coefficients are like one is 10% of the other, and I forgot, is it 10% of the mental or 10% of the emotional? Say if you're like registering 400 level, then you should register 400 with one of the, I don't know what's the emotion, probably I think it's emotional level. And then when you get there, then you're locked forever, because we come in, we're born with at a level. And so when you don't know anything about it, then you don't get to, people come in and they leave at the same level.
So if you came at the same level and you left at the same level, then you wouldn't really get your soul growth done, and your life purpose wouldn't be fulfilled. I mean, the whole purpose of showing up on planet Earth is to manage your emotions. So, you should be better off, hopefully, at the end of your journey here in this lifetime. Otherwise, you get to repeat it all over again. I mean, I'm not saying that some don't repeat it all over again because they don't understand the name of the game called planet Earth. That you have these emotions and decisions to make about which way you want to go. Do you want to go to human mind consciousness, to praise and blame, shame, guilt, and all the fears and doubts that we get, from our childhood and the way we're raised and from our parents and trauma and all the rest of that, which is all a pack of lies? Or do we want to know that we're connected to God and to Source, always have been, always will be, and that we're guided in each step of our lives? And if we do understand that, then we can drop the trauma, drop the stories, and get closer along the path to enlightenment, and therefore get our soul's journey done, right? And our life purposes accomplished. So yeah, we have these decisions to make. And the exciting thing is that everything shows up in your life to help you make the decision one way or the other. It never ends. It's a constant showing up in your face. And the beauty of this is you created it all for your own learning.
So then all of this could be done with the pendulum, is that correct?
Well, all of it can be done. Well, pendulum is helpful in that you can clear what you don't want, and you can install what you do want. It also, if you program your pendulum so it connects you to Source or through your higher self, it means when you ask a pendulum, you can get quick, rational decisions. Well, rational in that your brain is asking them, but your answer is coming through your heart, through your connection to Source. So now you can make quick, accurate decisions, and you're not so wishy-washy. And so therefore you can make really good decisions quickly and move ahead rather than being lost in all the choices that you have in front of you. But it's still, the quick and deep way of doing things is you still need to remove the trauma. I mean, you could go to the mountain or go to the cave and meditate, and you could achieve some of these higher levels that Hawkins talks about. moving towards enlightenment. But, when you come back into the real world, the real test is, can you hold that enlightenment for any length of time? And so full body enlightenment is being fully enlightened right here, right now in the body without needing to go anywhere. Can you handle what's coming your way without stressing out or freaking out or having a reaction that takes you down the path of losing energy? So that's the test we have in every moment.
Yeah, yeah. Getting back to that, to the tuning fork, biofield tuning, it's like you don't have to say anything, and when they go out, like the practitioner brings the tuning fork, they hit it and they bring it into your field. They start out like 5 feet away from you, and then when it hits trauma, a situation in the field, it resonates differently, and then they say, "Oh, what happened at such and such time?"
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know,
Yeah, go ahead.
I know Dr. Bradley, huh?
No, go ahead. Dr. Bradley.
Dr. Bradley Nelson's thing, they work with muscle testing, pendulum, whatever, and they find trapped emotions that you don't even know about, So that, and I'm looking at both of these things, like Dr. Bradley Nelson, the emotional code, and the bio-tuning group. And my mind is trying to figure out, like how do they kind of mash together? Are they're similar in a way, but, are they similar enough to like be able to embrace one or the other, or they would be dissimilar enough to embrace both of them? That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's a great question. And what I like about Bradley's work with emotion code is he has a whole prescriptive approach to making the decisions where the energy is locked up. And so when you're fully registered in his course, you literally have this set of, I want to call them keys and codes, but they're more like, you dowse it or muscle test, is it in this chart or is it in that chart? And whatever chart it is, say it's in the lymphatic or whatever, then there's another chart to go deeper into that, and then there's another chart. So it's a descent that you can make. Whether you use that muscle testing, it's the same process as dowsing to make the decision of which way to go. Now, either one of those modalities, muscle testing or dowsing, is really a precursor to be able to access your intuition on demand. And really that's the exciting part, is once you do this hundreds of clients, then you will just know without having to use any of the graphs or even necessarily to use your pendulum or muscle testing. Not that you can't confirm things, but you will just know when you start working with the client what's going on. So charts are very helpful, and graphs like Bradley has, and also tuning forks are very valuable. And I just wanted to say that, I have gone to a training session on sound where we just learn to just sit in front of the client, and you just start toning the same tone from the crown chakra all the way down, and you will find that the vibration in your tone will change. And then you zero in like you are, what area of the aura, and then you just continue to tone, and literally it breaks up that until there's a clear note all the way from the top to the bottom. So the point is, well, tuning forks are great. You don't necessarily need them, although they're a great adaptation to being able to maybe discover it quicker and faster. But it works on the same process that one energetic field in the presence of another one will cancel it out. The dominant frequency always wins, good, bad, or ugly. So yeah, powerful, powerful stuff. I also have another modality that's similar to what you're talking about, and it's called quantum sound therapy. And what I do is I record your voice, because what's in your voice, there's more information than in your fingerprint. And I take you on a guided meditation to get the highest frequency in your voice. I record it, We produce a 32-minute CD, which you listen to once a day, or an MP3 that you put on your smartphone. What that does is, because the intention that you've created is the dominant frequency, all that's in your field that's less than that in your biofield, that's not resonating at that, will come out of your biofield. You know anything about Dr. Emoto's water? The work that he did
Oh,
with...
yes. Uh-huh.
Well, we have structured water,
Yes,
8-ounce bottle of water, and we put your signature, your frequencies into that bottle. So now you mix the 1 ounce of structured water with your frequency into 1 gallon of American gallon of water. Then you drink 5 or 6 glasses a day, and that vibrational frequency goes down to the cellular level. It hydrates the cells, removes the toxins, and puts that intention in at the cellular level, at the blueprint level. So now you have the change and transformation you want from the inside out, and with the water, and with the sound from the outside in. And like the tuning forks, you don't need to know what the actual trauma was. It will just take it out.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, I saw something the other day, last night actually. It's Dr. Pillai, or Pilia. Do you know he is the Indian guru? Like that. He's got something online, and they've been working with kids in schools. It's called phonetic intelligence. Have you ever heard of that?
Say it again. What sort of intelligence?
It's called phonetic intelligence.
And like phonetic, like the alphabet? Phonetics?
Yeah, exactly. So what? Yeah, phonetic intelligence. So what they do, they have the kids, like, I just saw a little bit online. So the kid put their hand, or adult, so it's supposed to resonate into your brain. It does, deep brain activation, I guess. So you put your your left hand over your left eye, and then I don't know whether you go left to right, or, like go the left side of your brain, your left eye, and then the left side of your brain, and then the right eye and the right side of the brain. I'm not sure the sequencing of it, but it's like that. And they tone, like A, B, C, and when they put your hand on it, you can feel it vibrating in your brain.
Well, that's neat.
And so it's
like brain gym. You heard of brain gym for balancing the body?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
So yeah, if you combine the or the whom, sometimes there's other belief systems where whom is, the sound of the universe, or om, and use that, and then brain gym, you would start to balance the two hemispheres. And that's a really neat idea. I like that one. It would be very, very powerful for change and transformation, and the kids would think it would be fun, right?
Well, not only that, but they found that the kids they will be more compassionate. It helps them learn better. In fact, I made a call. There's on their recording, on video, they had a school in Brooklyn, New York, PS 119 in Brooklyn. And I actually made a call there today, but I didn't get a chance to talk to the principal, because I was like, okay, you guys are using this. How's it working? Because I would like to duplicate that. I think that would be really, really great. But, when you bring something new to the schools, they want to they're kind of apprehensive. But if you find someplace where they're already doing it, then, they're more of a chance to get it initiated.
Yeah, another thing that I've seen, and I wanted to play with it, and it was done in tubing, PVC, and the instructions unfortunately were lost. But I'm trying to remember what the sphere is called. I'm gonna ask my partner Sarah, what's the name of the spheres that we have outside by the Buddha? The Janisa. Genesa. Genesa, Genesa, Genesa sphere. And a Genesa sphere is another sacred geometry. It's not one of the Platonic solids. But when you set that up and put a child in the center of it and put them on a balance beam, so they become centered, right? They know where the body is centered. You can put the colors of the rainbow on the various spheres. Like I think it's 5 or 6. I think it would be 2, 3, 4, 5 spheres put together, right? And so when you put the colors on the spheres, the child can remember the colors quickly. And also, if you put the letters of the alphabet in any language on the sphere too, on one of those, they can learn it really quickly. So now they can assimilate and learn almost from the body level in a different way than through the mental. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it sounds great. Sounds wow. And what is that through? What is that technique called, or what is the procedure?
I don't know. I'd have to talk to Maureen Ederson. I know that she was the one that was doing this originally, and she had the system, and she would probably have more information. I've interviewed her on the wellness show, but we didn't talk about that part. So my partner just brought up Maureen Ederson's book, so I just wanted to, give credence where credence is due. Her book is called The Magical Evolutionary Code Unleashed, and she calls it the science of inner resonance, and it's available in our store, which is the Wellness Store, www.thewellnessstore.ca. And we interviewed her on the Wellness Show, which is the wellnessshow.ca. So yeah, again, that's another technique for using, in her way, it's really a guided meditation to help strip away what no longer serves you, to get you back to, that stillness inside of yourself that's trauma-free.
But many, many years ago, I learned something from a group of Catholics. Actually, we had like a interfaith meeting at a monastery or whatever you call it, and we were all there. And 3 times a day, we meditated and we did something called centering prayer. And centering prayer is where you just go to your heart and you just get a word, peace or joy or love. And we used to do that at our church, and the babies didn't cry, the birds didn't chirp. I mean, it was really, really deep. And and this was many, many years ago. So as I think about it, I guess that's what was happening, like the quantum entrainment, just going to that space, and that heals by itself, So you hold one end of the polarity, and I guess I'm holding the other end, and it keys it out. In a minute, it's gone. It's gritty. It's really trippy. It kind of, I think it frightens people, because like, wow, how did that happen?
Yeah, that sounds very exciting and very, very powerful. So when you were doing that centering prayer and you go to your heart, was everybody focused on the same word, or did each person get to choose their own word?
You choose your own. So
was there any suggestions?
Yeah. No, just to relax, go to your heart center, just be centered in your heart, and choose a word. And you're not using the word as a mantra. You're simply using the word to still the mind. So when the mind becomes active, you simply say the word again, and it gets you deep, deep, deep. I mean, I tell you, birds didn't chirp, the babies didn't cry.
Yeah.
I was tripped out about it, but this was a long time ago, but I just found the quantum entrainment. I said, oh, gee, that's what we were doing, I guess, with the centering prayer. It's a Catholic tradition. They do that in the Catholic nuns. I got that from.
Well, that sounds really
centering prayer.
The power of silence, right?
Yeah, but it's, I guess it's more, silence and the frequency that you tune into, love, peace, joy,
Mm-hmm.
and those things are powerful. So anyway, I don't know. I guess that's about it. I reached my destination here.
Great.
And
So you got any more great
but
questions?
anyway, no, I have to think about it.
All right.
Because I was gonna call you. Like I said, I should call you. I meant to get on the call last week, but then other things happened, so I was able to get on today. I was teaching, and I was getting up about 3-ish, and I said, "Oh, a call." So I remembered.
Well, it was great talking to you, Jack. So what's your name or your last name?
It's Hammond, Hammond. Hammond.
And where do you live?
I'm in Central Coast, California, Monterey, Salinas, Carmel area.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope you come back on the call. And if you want to fire me an email at tyson@me.ca, tyson@me.com, I will get you hooked into Facebook and all the rest of where the tribe is hanging out if you want to join into the discussion.
Okay.
So that's Tyson.
Okay, very good.
That's my TYHSON @me.com. All right.
Okay.
So I guess that's
okay. Well. Okay. Thank you so much for the conversation.
Yeah, it was
and the
fun.
information, the sharing.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it immensely. All right. Take care.
Okay. We'll catch you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now.